Hello everyone. Full disclosure, I am sharing my thoughts here using a teleprompt app on my phone. So if you see my eyes look a little off from the lens, that's why. I just have trouble getting my thoughts out spur of the moment, and this helps me keep things a little more organized. Well, here we are at the Airbnb. I'm holding the newest member of the Nasby crew, and I thought it would be neat to show him to you all, share some of the story of his birth, and a little about his name or names. For starters, we have hoped to have home births for all of our children, with Asa, our first. Do you want to come in here? He was a pretty special experience, the closest to a home birth for us without actually being at our home, as we went down a month before his due date to Missouri, to a little house some friends let us use about 20 minutes away from Amber's family. Yeah, he's not quite so small as he used to be. For the next two, Aiden and Alana, we decided to stay in Canada, which has been good in that we have... Oh, here comes Aiden. Oh, what a dirty face, young man.
Aiden.
You can come over a little more. There he is. Alana's still having her nap. As I was saying, we decided to stay in Canada for their births, which has been good in that we have midwife services in Manitoba. But the problem is they only do home births for people living in Brandon, which is a city about 1 hour and 15 minutes away from our little town. So for Aiden, we went with a midwife at the hospital in Brandon, which actually was a great experience for how fast it was, but still less than ideal when we had a bit of a snowfall that night and had to stay overnight at the hospital, which meant Amber slept on their not so comfortable hospital bed, while Angela, her sister, was on a recliner chair, and I slept on the floor. Needless to say, we were ready to go home in the morning. For Alana, I'm not sure why we didn't do this with Aiden, but we discovered that a hotel in Brandon, the Victoria Inn, worked with the midwife service and had some rooms ready for people who lived outside of Brandon and didn't want to have the birth at the hospital. So we went with this route for her. Right. And that worked out pretty well, but still not a home birth. That led us to wondering if we could find a place to stay in Brandon around the due date for little one number 4, which we ended up with this place where we're at right now through Airbnb. But the timing was the fun/surprise part. We had 2 different due dates for him, May 29th from an ultrasound, and June 4th was by Amber's calculations. With those dates in mind, we decided on dates of May 27th to June 9th for our stay at the Airbnb, and in case things happened earlier, we reserved the week before at the Victoria Inn. Well, early Monday morning, May 25th, at about 2:30 a.m., Amber wakes up and tells me that she thinks her water broke. I didn't ask her, but I suspect we were both thinking, oh no, we're not at our Airbnb yet. The thing at this point, though, was that she wasn't really feeling contractions, so things seemed like they were moving, but not really. It was still early in the morning, but Amber thought she'd try messaging the Airbnb host to see if the place might be available, and a bit later on in the morning, she got a reply back that yes, we could go there or here that day. Here's one of the neat parts that I discovered once we arrived at the Airbnb. They have a guest book, and I was browsing through it and discovered an entry for May 24th. Later on, I was talking to our host, Audrey, who said that the people had reserved the 3 days prior to our stay, so from May 24th to the 26th, but changed their reservation to only a day stay. If that isn't the hand of the Lord, I don't know what is. I just thought that was so cool. So we got all packed and headed to the Airbnb 2 days earlier than planned, and after about 5 hours of labor, we got to meet our new baby boy. That was another surprise. For some reason, I was stuck on thinking it may be a girl, so he was quite a surprise to me. It was funny too because we seemed to have been thinking mainly about girl names, even though we didn't have one picked for a girl either. So now we had the challenge of going over boy names.
Daddy, could I tell him the girl name that I thought of?
What was the girl name you thought of?
Ailey.
Ailey. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, he had an idea. Yep. The list is more narrowed down because, as some of you, or maybe all of you, have noticed, we do have a theme going with our children with A names. And also for our boys, we've been naming them after men of God, hoping they'll follow in that path to become men of God themselves.
Daddy, Ailey has an A.
It is. That's right. I remember with Asa, we had just been reading in Chronicles about King Asa. And for Aiden, we had just been listening to an audiobook by A.W. Tozer and learned that the A stood for Aiden. Then for middle names, we have a theme going with the 12 disciples. So Asa is Asa Philip, and Aiden is Aiden James. And for our newest one, we actually have a first name and two middle names. His first name is Alister, named after a preacher, Alister Begg, that Amber used to like to listen to on her way to work before we got married. Spelled differently, but pronounced the same. Alister means defender or helper of mankind. Then for his middle name, we wanted to think of some name that reminded us of little Shalom Trust, who we lost last year around this time. Many people use the term rainbow baby after a miscarriage, thinking of a beautiful promise after a storm. When we lost baby Shalom, only God knew that we would have this little baby born into our family almost a year later. So that is where his first middle name, Jediah, comes from. Jediah means Jehovah knows. And because a rainbow is made out of light, we decided to add a second middle name, Luke, which means bringer of light. So altogether, this is little Alister Jediah Luke Nasby. He was 6 pounds, 6 ounces when he was born, so the smallest of the four. But he's doing really well, and Mommy, Amber, is recovering well too. Really appreciate all of your prayers. When I look back at the couple statuses I posted on Monday, I realized that I hadn't really written anything else since then, leaving everyone hanging, I'm sure, and thought maybe a video would be a fun way to update y'all. Now we're just relaxing and resting with the days we have left here at the Airbnb before we head back to our little home in Deloraine. Please continue to pray for Amber's healing, Alister's growing, and all the rest of us. Thank you, everyone. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.